And I think when I look at everything that's happening with us, that what has happened and what is happening, we're speaking to the team now, tonight. When we go up to Fort Wayne, when we go to Huber Farms, places like that, we're speaking to the team. You people are as big a part of what's going on at Indiana because you stuck with it. When you had an option, okay, to turn and go somewhere else or to put your dollars behind somewhere else or to not buy your tickets, you stayed with it. You stayed with it. And that doesn't happen all the time in this day and age. It really doesn't. I mean, look at our student attendance. One reason that we're so concerned about making sure that we have our students in mind for these games is we lost half of the student body tickets when we took over. There was no plan for that. No one really saw that coming, that we were going to lose this great fan base, the #1 fan base in the country for student tickets. We were going to lose half of it. And we did. Well, we've got it all back and then some. As Scott Dolson told me today, I think we're over 120% higher than where we were a year ago at this time in student tickets. Well, you people never left, okay? And that's one reason that this senior class, who just, I know we got a couple Patricks in here, Patrick Asdale, who just graduated? Where's all our graduates? 4 years ago, all right, 4 years ago, those were the people that stayed with us more than any other class in Indiana. When the ticket disbursement was broken down, the freshmen bought the most tickets. And now they're graduates. So let's hear it for all of those people and the people that are still out there. Off-season was like. That's exactly what permeated throughout our program to get our guys to feel like now it's time for us to step up. Now it's time for us to have some fight in us. Now it's time for us that we've been getting sand kicked in our face for so long, and sometimes deservedly so. Okay, we weren't good enough, and we had injuries at times and things like that. But they went down to it, and they said, we're getting better. And if you don't want to get better, okay, we're going to be all over you, okay, until you either decide you're with us or you're not with us. And see, that's the difference right now. That's leadership. That's not coaching. That's the leadership. And their program has got to get to that. It's got to get to that. And that's where we're continuing to try to go, because all that does right now in this league and for us in this country and for the programs at Indiana like the football program is gives you an opportunity. That's where we sit right now. It's not about expectations. It's not about what this person thinks the top 25 should look like or this person thinks the recruiting class should look like. It's all about opportunity. And what we do each day inside of that is what's going to be the difference. Where our guys' hunger, okay, and their humility of we haven't done anything yet, where that lies is what's going to be the driving force on how far we go and what we can do. And I'm telling you, we're locked in. We've got a group of guys right now that are locked in. There is tremendous energy around our team. We've got guys like Cody Zeller is up to 231 pounds. All right? He's squatting at an all-time high. He's got to get his legs stronger, but he's now at a point where he's got one of the strongest lower bodies on the team. That wasn't the way it was when he came in. His vertical jump, which was already pretty good, has already jumped up too. Victor Oladipo's vertical jump, which was really good, has jumped up too. He's up to 216 pounds. He wasn't at 200 pounds when he got to Indiana. See, those are the things that have to happen. Now, Will Sheehy, he's a lot bigger than he was, and he's not even close to where he's got to be. All right, and we've run those clips of trying to battle Terrence Jones and Gilchrist and those guys in that Sweet 16 and that thickness and that toughness that those guys had a couple times to say, hey, we got to have a great offseason in the weight room. Because that's what it's going to give us. It's going to give us an opportunity to be better. How much stronger we get, how much more time they spend in the gym, what their work ethic is like when we're not around, because we don't get to be around as much right now. Now, fortunately, the NCAA changed the rules to where we get this summer, for the first time, get to work with our players in basketball for 2 hours a week, 8 of the 12 weeks of the summer school. And that's good. Believe me, that's really good. But there's not any teams being built on that short amount of time. Your team's being built every day. Our team is being built. Kevin's team, all the other teams are being built every day. And that's where your support has got to be with it every day. Every day you've got to be excited about what the future holds, just like you've been for us. Because it's been a long road and our guys have lived it and they want to keep moving forward in it. I promise you. The offseason that we had, it changed a lot of guys. It changed Christian Watford. He went from a guy that was pretty good and at times was consistent to a guy that became incredibly hungry incredibly hungry. He was a 32% three-point shooter as a freshman. He was up to 44% last year. 2/3 of the Big Ten, he was over 50% at different times in there. That's improvement. He went from really not being able to keep bigger guys from getting to the basket to, if you look at our last month of the season, he was guarding Lewis Jackson. He was guarding Keith Appling. I mean, he was guarding Tim Frazier at times in the Big Ten tournament. He was guarding the point guard from VCU, Smith, in the second half, which was a big turn for us. He was guarding Teague at times in the game, in the Kentucky game. Those things are big things. When you've got guys that are working that hard athletically and strength-wise, and that gives your team so much versatility. It really does. We've got to have big-time jumps inside of this program. It can't just be about the freshmen. It can't just be about Cody. It's got to be about guys making jumps. Christian made a big jump. Jordan Hulse, percentage-wise, made a big jump. Victor Oladipo and Will Sheehy made huge jumps. Didn't always show up in the stat sheet, but it showed up in the way that we played. And when you look at the versatility that those guys bring, it was really, really important. We thought it was going to be tough when Maurice got hurt before the season started, in a lot of ways. Number one, because we had a young man that had his third major surgery in less than 22 months. And he is recovering. He's not at a point right now where he can play full court with the guys. He's not at a point where he can do live contact work, but he's back at a point where he's competitive. He's back at a point where he's shooting the ball a lot. Now, the next step for him is he's got to work on his own like Victor, Will, Jordan, like those guys work. He's got to work like that. When he does that, he's got a chance to come in next year and make our team that much better, because it's really easy to forget that when he got hurt his freshman year, he was leading the country in scoring for freshmen at 17 points a game. People think about this Kentucky game. I think about that one where he had 31 points in it, and they had no answer for him. See, if we can get him back somewhere in there, okay, that's going to really help make our team that much better. But what does he have right now? He's got an opportunity. He's got an opportunity just like every one of them. Cody Zeller, he's got some enormous opportunities. And when this summer is over, he's going to be well over half the way to having his degree at the end of his freshman year. He's one of the 7 guys that had his highest GPA on our team this spring semester. And when you put that in context, and when you look at how potentially all their lives have changed this past spring because of the season and because of how long we played and because of all the attention that they're getting, and what could have potentially happened when the season ended and you've got everybody telling you how good they are, their grades went up that much more. We're going to have a 3.0 again this semester. We had 7 guys cross the stage this past Saturday in graduation. 7 guys. Cody wasn't one of them just yet, but Jordan and Derek were. They're our 3rd guys, along with Matt Roth, that have graduated now in 3 years from a prestigious school like Indiana. And as you know, with 180 majors, over 330 degrees, they're all challenging. And you've got to work at it. And to have that 3.0, to have ourselves in position to have 1,000 on the APR again, we got a lot of good kids. We got a lot of good people surrounding them. But there's competition now. There's competition not only in the court, but there's competition to have the highest GPA. Victor Oladipo wanted to have the highest GPA on the team. He just about got it. His GPA was 4 points higher, okay, than his average GPA. And look at how his life has changed this past year. See, that's the progress we're making. That's what I can look forward to for Kevin. He may not be able to see that right now and see that in his program, but if they stick with it and those players really get locked in to what it's going to take to be successful, they'll see those same things. They'll see it. There's no fan base in the country like this. I've said that to Kevin. I'll say that to any new coach that comes in there. There's no fan base in the country like this. I have friends that would not believe it because they haven't lived it. There's no group of people that would stay with it like you people have and continue to inspire the way that you have. There's no way. And our players, they feel it. And our recruits, they see it. And as those recruits come in now from seeing it and watching it, what do they have? They have an opportunity. We got all those young men coming in that have an opportunity to come in and make our team better. And if they do, we're going to be faster. We're going to be better on the break. Yogi Ferrell is as good a point guard as there is in the country, without a doubt. And if he comes in and brings that vision and brings that speed and brings that ability to shoot the ball, but most importantly brings that winning attitude and mindset that he's played in high school with. He's been to the 1 state final as a sophomore and won the last 2 that he was in. That's a strong winning background. Jeremy Hollowell is one of the most improved people that not only have I seen, but that we've recruited. And there was not a day that went by when we weren't looking at his numbers and looking at him and saying, man, we are so glad. We are so fortunate to have signed him. because the rating systems and all that, that's not even close to the kind of player that he can be. He can be really, really good. But what he's got right now is an opportunity to come in and make us better by making his teammates better. And they're going to make him better. They're going to make him better. Hunter Perea, the only good news for him, well, I shouldn't say, the only bad news for all of you is I don't think Victor Oladipo is going to participate in the dunk contest because I don't think there's any way he's going to beat Hunter Perea next year. I don't think he can do it, you know? Now, I say that to Victor every other day so that you can imagine a competitor. Will Sheehy, he doesn't care. I mean, he doesn't care who comes to the dunk contest. He plans to have something freaky and funky. But Victor, I'm not sure Victor can beat Hunter. That's going to be a treat. Peter Jerkin has finally got a year under his belt where he was healthy for the most part and is a legit 7 foot and making progress all the time and getting stronger. Strength will be a big issue for him, but he can run, he can block shots, and he's got some toughness, just like Hunter. Our great memory of Hunter was when we were recruiting him. We saw him play as a junior, and he went against a kid that's a starting center for Syracuse, Rakeem Christmas, who was ranked either the number 1 or 2 center in the country that year at the time. He's starting for Syracuse, so that's how good he is. And Hunter went toe to toe. I mean, it was a battle inside of a battle. And we knew right then that this guy's toughness is at another level. And Ron Patterson, the one thing that's unique about him is I've never been around anybody that's got a longer wingspan. When he stretches out and does this, he is a foot longer than he is taller. He's got a plus 12 wingspan. That's crazy. I mean, that's like Spider-Man stuff, okay? So for us, I mean, that brings another level of defense. That brings another level of tenacity and toughness. But again, they're going to have a lot to learn. You know, there's a lot of talk about the movement. You don't hear me saying that. There's a lot of talk about opportunity. There's going to be a lot of talk about hard work. There's going to be a lot of talk about walking in there and understanding that we got a lot of guys that have been through the grind. We've got a lot of guys that have lived a lot of hard days. We've got a lot of guys inside of that program that they know what it's like. Now, we don't have as many because we're going to have 8 freshmen or sophomores on this team. But the bottom line is this. Those older guys, they've lived it, and they don't want to go back. They don't want to go back. They want to go forward. They want to move forward, and they're doing that. They're doing that athletically. They're doing that academically. They're doing that in so many different areas. They really are. And they're a very, very good group of guys to coach. The culture that is in there right now for work ethic, for toughness, for competing with one another, it's really strong. It's really strong. And we've got to have that. Because when you look at these prognosticators and you look at all these predictions and all these forecasts, our name is up there. Well, so is a lot of our opponents. A lot of them. A lot of them. A lot of people that we play twice. The league is, without a doubt, the best in the country. Was last year. I think it's been since we've been there. And I don't think this year is going to take a back seat to anyone at all. We were at the Big Ten meetings the other day, and you look around that room, and John Gross is in there now from Illinois. All he did is go to the Sweet 16. Pat Chambers is a very good coach. We played Tim Miles at North Dakota State when we had a really good team at Marquette, and we lost to them at home, and now he's the coach at Nebraska. So we know that we're in for some real battles. We're in for some non-conference battles, all right, and we're in for some conference battles. But the bottom line is, when they play against us now, they've got to know that they're in for a battle. They've got to know that it's really going to be a hard task. But they've got to know above and beyond that when they walk into Assembly Hall, all right, that it's going to be really, really riveting, spirited, and tough. We've got an environment now, right? We've got an environment. Indiana has always had a special place. It's always been a very, very tough place to play. For a couple years, it wasn't as tough to play because we had something to do with that. You people were good, then you became unbelievable. Our team's getting better. Where our opportunity lies right now is that we make Assembly Hall, and first we make Memorial Stadium, and all the other places in there, we make that an absolute horrid place for the opponents to walk into, where they're laying awake at night, dreading the fact that they've got to come to Indiana to face any team that the Hoosiers put out there. We've got to have the toughest, most obnoxious, greatest crowd in the history of Indiana history. And I'm looking at people that are going to do it. Thank you very much.